First of all, Tommy, just tell me about the last week in training and how the the players have responded.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough weekend. We knew that going into it, on the back of a decent run of form, to be fair. Well, we felt we had an opportunity in both games. Going ahead at Notts County was possibly the worst thing that could have happened so early on, as it turned out. But the lads put in a great performance up there, despite the result. And I think the Monday game just came a day early for us. I don't think we had enough in my legs to go the distance in the second game. So that was disappointing, and I think the lads were really hurt by it. It was a body blow to concede just before half time, and we just didn't have enough, if I'm honest. And I thought we lost both games to better sides, and we can't argue with that. You know, the infrastructure and the resources of them clubs are on a different planet to us at this moment in time. But the players had a couple of days off. They had a rest from us. We had a rest from them. But we trained really well yesterday. The only thing being is, after the game on Monday, I tested positive. And I was positive again on Tuesday, but then I was negative on Wednesday and Thursday. So thankfully I'm back, but I've had a bit of a throat and a bit of a cough, and there's a bit of that hanging around the place. Whether it is COVID or not, it's irrelevant now. I think it's just a general unwellness amongst one or two people. So that's something we're going to have to deal with before the weekend's game. But other than that, it's been a positive return to training, I would say.
How is the fitness of the squad generally?
It's been good. I think the schedule's catching up on a lot. I think if you rewind your tape to when I first came in, I said there's a lot of lads here, if you look at them as racehorses, that hadn't gone the full mile. You know, some of them have done half a mile or 6 furlongs. And I think now we're getting to the 7 and 7.5 mark. There's a couple struggling. Whether they get there or not, I don't know. But I know there's a few teetering on the edge. So we're stretched. But they're committed lads and they're honest lads, and they'll give us what we get. And I'm sure one or two will get a chance between now and the end of the season that maybe have felt they deserved a chance before now. But the proof of that pudding will be in the eating.
And you're travelling overnight, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right thing to do. We've only done that twice, and we've brought 4 points home from the 2 games. So it's the best way we can prepare for the game. That, in my eyes, and in our eyes as a group, we feel if we win the game on Saturday, it's still not over, because it can't be over, mathematically. And that, from my point of view, is really important. We've got to keep them focused. So the longer we spend together, so from after this, we'll be training and then travelling down to Essex and staying over before the game.
You mentioned you've not been around much this week, so Hugo Mark, who's been doing what, and how's the squad responded?
Yeah, and yesterday with the boys, as Tom's just said, trained well. It was just about restarting their engines again yesterday, and then just stop drip feeding in some initial thoughts on Dagenham and how we want to play against them. So yeah, as Tom said, they were bright yesterday, very bright yesterday.
And I think if you look, sort of the fans see and speak about the changes that have gone on since you all came in and what's happened, how have you found it picking up a team and having to modify things as you've gone along? How does that work for guys in your position?
I think the biggest challenge really initially was, forget where the club was in the table and its points tally. It was more about how the team was playing, and the fact that they weren't, a lot of it was a bit too deep. You mentioned about fitness earlier to Tom, and we feel that the team was fit for what they were doing at the time, but what we wanted to gradually change, obviously, it was a slight alteration and in demands for the players, both in training and in the game, so it's had to be quite gradual. A lot of the players as well, I don't think, are used to this kind of back-to-back relentless schedule. Some of them are very young, others haven't played enough, and it's probably the reason a few of them are teetering on the edge at the moment is because of that. But yeah, it's been a completely unique challenge, certainly for me, and I imagine as well for you, Hughes. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd just add to that. Training's always been great here because we've got good footballers in the club. It's easy to put on a session, and you can see that they've been full-time footballers without really being in the nitty-gritty and banging out 40 games a season. We're trying to, as much as we can, get on info. It's all about winning games. It's great being a good training ground player from Monday to Friday. So we get that balance right of how you're going to win the game. And I think if you look at our game plans, the amount of times we've gone 1-0 up is frightening. And then it's just those we hadn't got enough. We haven't. It's still got enough characters that can see a game through, and when it gets tough for those 20-30 minutes, not to concede and get yourself to half-time, a bit like on Monday, where we just didn't get ourselves to half-time at 0-0. But yeah, training's always been good, and on Fridays, we love Fridays, because as a player, you love that, you know training's short and sharp, so there's nothing hidden, and you can go out and get yourself ready for tomorrow, and it's just about us being enthusiastic, especially myself, where I'll make sure I'm bubbly on a Friday and get them going and prepared for tomorrow.
And what's your recovery time on a Saturday night, Sunday?
Depends how much beer I've had.
Man after my own heart.
I thought you were teetotal.
I am for 2 weeks, yeah. I'm not drinking for 2 weeks, yeah. See how that goes. I'm on day 6. Not that I'm counting.
Seriously though, you've come in and your presence on the touchline. I mean, we see it from where we are frequently. I mean, do you find that quite a transition for yourself now, being more in that role?
I've had 3 roles as assistant before, but still playing. So if the gaffer was the manager, he would know I would be on the pitch if I was his assistant, and I found that easy as a player talking. So yeah, this one, I think the biggest one is you can't kick the ball for them. And I try to just use my voice on the sideline, yeah, because that's what I've done as a player, and I'm not doing it for show, it just comes naturally to me.
And I mean, between all 3 of you, what's the plan for the rest of the season, the training structure, bringing players in, stuff like that? Any thoughts of any change?
Well, I mean, obviously, as he's mentioned there, our ultimate is just to plan per game, really. In fact, we even broke it down to plan per half over the last 5 games. So from that point of view, like he said, the game plan we have usually encompasses a strategy to be in the game, to win the game, or not to lose the game, depending on where you are at the different junctures. So from that point of view, that won't change. Obviously, the end game will either be settled or not as games go by. So from that point of view, that'll change our thinking a little bit. I mean, like I said, I've got designs on having a look at certain players in certain different positions, possibly. Maybe he's trying a couple of different things. But, I mean, when people ask me, have you planned for next season? Whilst we haven't specifically planned in fine detail, there's a general feeling that there's a core of the group that I would like to keep, whatever happens to the status of the football club. So that's probably in the back of my mind at the moment, rather than in the forefront.
But you are thinking...
Yeah, hugely. I've spoken to 1 or 2, in fact more than 1 or 2, of the players who are out of contract, just letting them know my feelings and that I would like them to be part of whatever we're doing next season. So I was a footballer once myself, and when you're a footballer rather than a coach or a manager, you want to keep your options open, but they've got to be careful because the door only stays open for so long. So.
Guys, thank you very much indeed.
No problem.
No problem.